Hello and welcome to another episode of a Wicked Parley. Oh man, last week's episode was a total goof. On behalf of everyone here at Wicked Parley, we sincerely apologize for that particular goof, and we'll return back to that subject in the future some other time. But for the time being, we're going to go ahead and talk about leisure.
Woo-hoo!
Hell
Relaxation time. Hopefully.
You know, when I think of leisure,
Okay.
I don't think of just like relaxation time. I think of like hobbies and like going and exploring and experiencing things. And
All right.
yeah, I mean, I had the benefit of taking an entire class that discussed leisure, and so you know, hopefully, I don't do my professor an injustice by presenting this particular subject in a negative light, because it's a happy one. Hi, host. Welcome to the show.
Hello, host. Friend.
Indeed. Friend of the show. Hopefully you have things to say. You know, I'm going to start off tonight with a question to you, Rose. How do you think leisure can change your life?
Well, it's about, immersing yourself in the experience, right?
I mean, that's my particular definition. If you have a different definition or want to add to it, feel free.
It's kind of, for me, it's kind of, a break from the mundane stress of life. You do this to relax. You do this to break away, even if only temporarily, to give yourself essentially a break so you don't burn out. Sometimes you can do it solo. Sometimes you can do it with friends, that sort of thing.
Oh, my goodness. See, you mentioned like for solo and friends. I'll be honest. I personally cannot have like any sort of leisure time if I'm by myself. To me, being by myself is like being in prison. I feel incarcerated by my mind.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good in the slightest.
Not really, no. I mean, like, I know some people find like reading like a book, for instance, as a leisure activity. I'm not so sure that's necessarily the case. I think it can apply it for some, but I'm somebody, I gotta be out there. I gotta get into the thicket of things, I gotta be interacting. So
Fair enough. It just depends on the leisure activity. Some people want more people, and then other people just want to be left the heck alone.
Okay. That's fair. That's very fair. Do you have...
I guess it depends on whether you're a people person or not. It's just like, do you get your energy from hanging out with other people, or do you just need to recharge like a little battery?
And you're talking about like the difference between being like super like extroverted and super introverted.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way most people would interpret it, right? I mean, like, if you need to recharge after meeting with people, you're probably somebody who is, low-key, probably not, like, super people person. And if you are, like, I guess your battery is refilled by being in the presence of people, you're probably definitely considered an extrovert. And so, like, I don't know. To me, I don't know if I get my battery recharged by people, because I think it depends on the people. But I do think my leisure activities typically are enriched by the experiences of people I care about around me. So that's the way I'd look at it.
Fair enough.
Do you have any particular like favorite like things to do, like when it comes to leisure activities that are like, we'll call it budget friendly? Oh, I should mention one thing before you answer that question, Rose. Tonight, we're going to be separating the general principles and questions and things around 3 different spheres of budget. So if we talk about something that's in the low budget area, understand that we're talking about things that would be kind of like inexpensive to mildly expensive, and then like from mildly expensive to getting kind of expensive, and then lastly like
to ungodly, wieldly amounts of money sometimes.
Well, let's just say that they are extravagant and are things that most people may never do, and if they do, the
common person,
they may only ever do once.
They have saved like an ungodly amount of time.
You started your journey as a young 25-year-old whippersnapper. Now, 65 years later, you are, not the spring
Ooh,
chicken that you once were, but yet you are still eager to explore places.
you
It's
are
not,
a winter chicken. Or an autumn chicken at that point. Anyway,
hey, that sounds like someone's getting like, all right, you're a winter chicken, you're an autumn chicken. Well, guess what? You're a Thanksgiving chicken.
it's called a Cornish hen.
She's got names, folks. She's got names. Uh,
All
okay, yeah,
right.
but what are some of the activities that you enjoy that are kind of like budget friendly?
I like going to the beach, which works because
Okay,
currently it's stationed in Southern California, which means beachfronts.
okay, jealous.
Um, and I like to go visit botanical gardens.
Oh, I love botanical gardens.
Those are fun, and you really only have to, pay for the entry ticket or like, the parking fee,
Hmm.
along with, of course, the gas. But if it's not within walking distance of you, it's usually going to be gas.
Fair enough, and you live in California, so yeah,
Yeah.
cars are just kind of going to be being figured into your life, anyways. Uh,
Tell me about it, especially with the weather today.
yeah, it was snowing for you, right?
Yeah, it was snowing
Yeah,
in Southern California, and
yeah,
it's not in the mountains. I was pleasantly surprised and cold.
yeah. and that's where, folks, is the proof in the pudding for global climate change. When it's
Mhm.
snowing in LA, you got problems. You
Yep.
got problems.
So those are some of the things that I like to do. What are some of the things that you like to do?
Oh dear Lord.
Uh-oh. We got a list? We got a
Oh,
list?
we got a list. You ready for this list? It's a fat list.
Yes.
And,
Okay,
and
okay,
host,
let's
I
go.
want to I want to know what you like to do for leisure, host. For me, I like to go hiking, bike riding, bike riding, excuse me,
Biking?
biking. When I can.
Hmm.
As of late, I currently do not have a bike because I am a giant. But I'm in the process of locating perhaps a new mountain bike.
Oh.
I like going swimming. I mean, lakes, rivers, whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like going into like art galleries. You know, those are always great.
A little
Zoos.
delve into the mind.
I have been kicking around the idea, perhaps, of going skydiving, perhaps one day. Not 100% certain, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm lame as hell, okay? Like, I am boring. I'm boring. I guess it's going to take me jumping out of a plane to stop being boring. I don't
Whee!
know. It's like, you want to put your life on the
Have
line? Here
at
we
it.
go.
You're not gonna lie, that seems terrifying. It's just like, can I start with parachuting first?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Just like, like simple parachute off a cliff.
that's
With
worse.
at least it'd be closer to the ground than a gosh darn plane.
That's the exact. But that's the exact opposite. You don't want to be close to the ground when your parachute opens. You don't want that. You want to be gently gliding down. You don't want to be like,
Yeah, for a
that's a
really
tree,
tall cliff.
and you like hit the
Yeah, just go
ground.
off a really, really tall cliff, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? You're a small person. You're gonna be fine if you do that. I am not. Gravity's like, oh, I see a giant just jumped off. Hello, come back down to earth, my friend, and splat. Like, no
Yeah,
way.
gravity would catch you real quick.
Oh yeah, no, it would be like, I see you're trying to leave us. Not today.
Okay, okay. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those are a little more like extreme than others.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, nah. I mean, on occasion, I also kind of like to go fishing. Like if
Ooh,
like if it's like a particularly pristine, pretty place. I mean, if I'm getting
little
eaten,
relaxation
yeah,
time.
if I'm getting eaten alive or someone yappity is in my ear, no.
Always the yip yap.
But like, I could be talked into fishing.
Alright.
Yeah, those are some. So the smallest. Yeah.
Okay.
What was your
Just a little small.
yeah? What was your angle at the list? Though I'm curious.
Hmm?
What's your angle at the list?
What do you mean?
Don't worry about it. Nothing. I guess. Anywho, let me throw a question at the audience here, and feel free to answer this too, Rose, if you got an answer for me.
Okay.
What are some of the primary benefits you guys all might get from actually partaking in leisure? Because I get to come here and I can talk to you about leisure, like benefits. But I'm curious, is there anything that particularly jumps out at anyone who's watching or in the future watching that throws in the comment section or anything? And
Stress
Rose,
relief.
stress relief for you?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Just
right,
a chance to be away from things and people that would just stress me out.
okay, that's fair.
It might hurt the wallet depending on which option I go for, but if I plan things around, I
Uh-huh.
can just take the day to myself and not be around anybody. Ah.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
What's host say?
Host says that they like telling themselves stories. They're always influenced by what they're obsessed with at the time, and also eat anything that can fit in the hand.
Okay.
Sometimes you just gotta eat something.
I guess sometimes when you gotta throw a rock into a lake or something. Uh, I mean, like when it comes down to like the benefits of leisure outside of stress, is there anything that you can think of that's not just like stress related that could be helpful?
Hmm. Could be just the benefit of like doing something different than your old routine that you're probably like getting burnt out from.
Okay, yeah, breaking out a routine. I think that's definitely got to be up there on one of the benefits. How about cultivating new skills?
That could also work depending on which one you go for.
Yeah, or building character.
Definitely depending on again, as it's like, are you traveling or are you like doing something difficult
Yeah,
type of scenario?
I mean, I can imagine someone doing some like rock climbing or like hiking like in the middle of nowhere,
Hmm.
right? And just being like, you either have to like learn to persevere and tough it out,
Yeah.
or maybe you might have a serious problem on your hands. Oh, I see. Host has another one. I see.
Ah,
Let's take a
okay,
look.
okay. So for the whole, what could they get out of, these leisure activities for
Hmm.
benefits? And host says to learn a hobby, such as a child breaking a plush, and therefore they must learn how to sew. I have done that for my cousins before.
I'm not so sure that's necessarily a leisure activity though. Like unless you enjoy
Sewing?
sewing.
Yeah, some people enjoy sewing.
Okay, all right.
Like
Uh,
some people use it to, use crafts and stuff to chill.
mhm. Okay, yeah, that part I've heard, but I've always heard that sewing kind of hurts the fingers, and so like it's like,
Only when you're first learning.
okay, okay,
If you get good once you get good at it, you kind of know like how much pressure to avoid pricking your finger, and that's also another thing for thimbles.
oh, okay, yeah. Oh, well, there you go. More you know.
Da, 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 da.
Why, you little...
How dare you?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well, that's pretty cool.
Oh,
No. Okay. All right, host. Thank you for the opportunity to derail. Not today. All right. I guess I have another question for
yeah.
you.
What's up?
What are some budget friendly options for leisure that you can think of?
I thought we already covered that.
Well, outside of the beach trip and the botanical garden, do you have anything else?
I mean, I would say crafts, but depending on which crafting you go into, which crafting hobby you into, it can be very, very expensive.
Okay, let's assume it's not expensive. Do you think like painting or like I don't know, like drawing could be like particularly that's a good thing. That's a leisure.
Say I would say so because you can draw whatever you want, you can paint whatever you want. With like drawing, you don't really need anything more than a pencil, really. You
Hmm.
can get some good shading, some good, hatching for it to make it more pop rather than, some 2D line art.
Hmm.
Granted, line art's pretty good too. Painting, you can kind of do whatever, and it doesn't have to be expensive as long as you know how to work with the material you've got.
Okay. Yeah.
Like Posca painting can get expensive if you get like a bunch of pens.
Ah, really? I didn't know that.
Mhm. But acrylics aren't that expensive. You can get them at like kind of any craft store. I've even seen some like cheap acrylics at like Dollar Tree. I wouldn't go for it, but I've made like dragon eggs out of styrofoam eggs, thumb thumbtacks, and nail polish, all of which can usually be found in like a Dollar Tree.
Oh, wow. That's super cool.
Yeah.
The frugal option is always there.
Especially when you're on a budget.
Yeah. Let's move on to the slightly less budget friendly option.
Kind of the medium-ish, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
All right. Can you think of some examples of some budget friendly things that can get maybe perhaps out there a little bit? Maybe a little bit more expensive than we would hope.
Besides the crafting thing I mentioned, because
Yes, let's say not the crafting one because we already
Yeah.
kind of know how that one
okay,
goes.
so let me just take one into example. Say the beach trip. Let's say you have a local beach, but this time you want to travel to a different beach. Do you
Okay.
have to drive or do you have to fly? And depending on, how far you go, will determine just that budget alone.
Oh
And there's
gosh.
also, do you want to spend the night? I.e., are you going to need a motel? Are you going to need an Airbnb? Are you going to need a hotel? Are you going to go nuts and go at a resort? Are you going to prepare stuff? Like, is the beach available for scuba diving? Is it available for snorkeling or surfing? Do you have to rent any of that equipment or do you have to buy any of that equipment?
Okay, maybe I asked this. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question. My God, that was a list.
I have thought about my beach trips extensively, okay?
Damn. Wow. Yeah, I can tell. God damn. Okay, let me ask you
I'm
this.
sorry?
No, don't be sorry. It's fine. Like, let me ask this. Do you think that, like, if something costs more, that it takes something away from the leisureliness of the activity? Or do you think it adds to the leisureliness of the activity?
I think it depends on your self-control. Because I would say that if you have the budget for it and you're like fully capable of doing it without, being a detriment to yourself, it will
Uh-huh.
add to the experience. It will add to how much joy you get out of it.
Uh-huh.
However, the reason I say it's based off of self-control is if you go way past what your wallet is comfortable with when it comes to bills,
Uh-huh.
and anything else you have to do, while it may be good at the moment,
Uh-huh.
once you take a look at the bills later, high distress.
Do you trust me with that?
Sometimes.
Oh, right. All right. Yeah. All right. I thought we were fully prepared for a bad dog file.
It just depends on the trip.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because it's like I know people who with like a bunch of self-control and depending on where they go, like
Uh-huh.
I have a friend of mine who very frugal for the entirety of the year. As soon as they go to an anime convention, out the window.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Out the frickin' window.
That makes sense. I mean, like, I can understand
Yeah.
that.
So it's just like it does add to their experience, and the reason it adds to their experience rather than, taking away from it is because they budgeted like that. Because they were able
intentionally
to they intentionally nerfed most of their, yearly leisurely activities so they could just put it all on that one.
I would argue that's not healthy, but you know what? We're not here. We're not going to debate the health of that.
We can do that
particular-
later.
I mean, I'm open to it. But all right. Okay. So, all right. So we have this idea now. Okay, this is an example. That was an example. A couple examples, perhaps, of how things can get kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
There is an example I can think of.
Okay. All right. Have at it.
I think of like leisure activities, like say like let's just say hypothetically, right, that you're like getting like into, I don't know, biking. Okay, just
Okay.
for
Something
for
physical.
sake of argument, let's say you're getting into biking, right? And you're like, you know what? I want to go fast, and so you're like, I'm gonna get a faster bike. And now you've like spent $300, and now you're looking to spend $700, and then you get the fast bike, and you're like, "This bike is good, but I really don't like the seat." or the color doesn't seem right to me, and I don't want to have to paint it. I'll get a new bike.
Okay.
And now you spent $1,000 on bikes so far that didn't work out, and now you're gonna spend like $1,500 for another fucking bike. So you're now in it for $2,500. They said these are bicycles.
Yeah.
This isn't a
not
motorbike. This is a bicycle. All right.
It is something you pedal.
Yeah. And you're spending as much as like a hoopty car.
Sounds like my tuition.
Let's not go there.
For a unit.
I don't want to think about things like that. Let's stop.
Gotcha.
No.
It's like, don't you dare. We're talking about leisure.
We're talking about leisure. Don't give me stress. How dare you? I will take the fish off the street and strangle it. Anyways, okay, so I don't know. At least that's my example of it. Do you got any questions for me?
I've got one.
Oh,
So you mentioned like hiking and stuff.
I do. Yes.
So you seem to like more like physical or kind of, walk around type of things.
Yes.
So what type of adventures or hijinks have you done in order to get leisure time or during
God.
leisure time?
Oh.
If you can pick one.
Okay, there's several. All right. I mean, like some of my exploits have been more or less been said before on this podcast. So, like the Hawaii trip, like that's an example of me hiking, but like with like a Pepsi. Like the reason I don't drink Pepsi anymore.
Oh, right.
I think
Yeah,
like
that was a monster.
that was a monster. I think most of the hijinks have to do with the fact that like whenever I do like a leisurely activity that has the turn of doing something physical, one of three things always happens. Either something catastrophic to someone, something happens on or during, like on the way, during, or on the way back, every time. Okay, every time.
Yeah.
The other thing that always seems to happen is that I find some way of hurting myself on these things. Not in like a way that's gonna like, oh my god, I'm done, but like just weird, stupid things. Like one time I was hiking and I got like a bramble bush like scraped across my leg. And I'm not sure if anyone knows what a bramble bush kind of feels like, but like imagine like a thorn bush or like a rose bush with a bunch of prickly stuff, and then just imagine dragging that whiplash style across a part of your body, and then imagine mosquitoes and everything else that you can imagine experiencing. It's unpleasant. Like extremely unpleasant. And so I mean, just weird shit. Like I think
Weird crap.
I mean, my favorite hijink of all time was a masterful prank. Masterful.
Well, all right.
I took the left shoe of everyone and dangled it in a tree, like out of sight. So when they got up, they couldn't like walk around. The only problem was they noticed that my shoes were fine.
Oh, so they immediately knew what they wanted to do. Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't know how that happened.
Should have just taken your shoe too.
I didn't want to, because then I'd have to walk back and there would be evidence on my socks. Yeah, I wasn't thinking through. I don't know. I didn't think it through. But it was hilarious for a little while watching everyone get all panicky and stuff. They're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to walk all the way back with only one shoe.
Well, all right.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Just
but the reaction was priceless.
all right.
Anyways.
As long as you enjoyed it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was all in good fun. It wasn't like I was gonna like really like mess with anybody for a long period of time. What about you?
Just
You
a
get any
small prank.
hijinks?
I have worked myself into a tizzy trying to get some spare time for our leisure time.
Well, that's not hijinks on a leisure activity.
Nah. Most of my leisure activities are solo, and they're usually like like reading a book or just like reading stuff online or like playing games, but like that doesn't really count if you
Not
can't
really.
immerse yourself.
It's got to be immersive. I mean, like, I guess, like, if you have, like, one of those really mind-blowing books, I guess maybe it could be immersive, but, like... I don't don't know. You know what? It's been a really long time since an author's really knocked my socks off. So, I mean, maybe I'm just, like, lacking in that. And maybe you're just running into it all the time. So.
I find myself, it's easy to like place myself in the book and just feel the emotions. So so it's like, I guess for me it counts, but for you it wouldn't for reading.
Yeah, I think the soul sucking aspect of the podcast has ruined reading for me. If I'm being perfectly honest.
Ooh.
I read so much. It's like
That is perfectly fair. It has become less recreational for you and more, business. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. I see host has been talking about bikes. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so it's just like, you were talking about the mountain bike, and they said to invest in an aluminum frame because everything else can be replaced and upgraded later. So, I asked how viable that was, and they had a friend who had a steel frame change the handlebars, the rims, the crank, and the cassette. The main complaint was the weight of the steel frame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you
mostly
know what? I'd
because,
buy that.
Yeah. So, and it's more about, because like a road bike has a light aluminum frame, which is for carrying and speed, not really for suspension or frequent crashing, which I would imagine if you're biking down a mountain, you are going to have.
Well, actually, I mean, like, if you do it right.
If you do it right.
I mean, if you do it, I would more specific. I guess right isn't the right way to say it. I would say in the ways that I would approach this, I would not usually run into danger of crashing. Because I'm like looking ahead for pothole looking things or really uneven ground and stuff like that, and I'm trying to whip my way through a trail usually. I'm not going down a mountain like with nothing, with no ID. Because that's how people get killed.
That's how people get hurt.
What's his name? The dude who was married to Cher, who died on skis. That's how he kind of went out. He pulled a George of the Jungle with a tree and didn't make it.
But yeah, it's quite some interesting information that I didn't know about biking.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I will look into it.
All right.
Yeah, okay. So we talked a little bit about jinx, like hijinks and stuff like that. Okay.
Mostly on your end, because I'm boring.
Listen, now while talking about like the various scales of money and whatnot that often happen when it comes to leisure activities, we kind of listed out a few
for the budget friendly.
Well, no, we already listed out a few for budget friendly, but I want to talk about like we call this medium range, which is like $1,000 to $5,000, but really it's kind of fucking expensive. But like, let's just. I would like to know what are some of the leisure activities that you would recommend that are in this budget range?
Like a long road trip. Probably a stay at a resort. That's pretty. I know some spas can get expensive depending on what you go there for.
There was a person I used to know who used to go to a Korean spa, like with their mom, all the time.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh yeah, you go in there for like, a simple little face scrub, yeah, okay, fine. You go there for a full body spa experience. Oh god.
Your body's never felt fresher in your life. You're like, I feel so exfoliated right now. Oh yeah, this feels good. Take your mud bath.
And I'm just like, goodness. Holy mother of cluck.
Indeed. Kyle, do you want to read Kyle's response?
Yeah, so it turns out they've read about how leisure affects adult development. So it's amazing how little is actually understood about it.
Yeah, I do.
No, they asked about the spa treatment. $500 a year or each time?
Oh my god, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, time scale would be important.
Yeah, to be fair, okay, like I looked into the actual numbers of the place that I was thinking of when this episode was getting written up. It turns out it's about $175 a person each time you go. And
oh jeez.
And here's the thing, that's not their full experience. Their full package costs $725.
Well, dang, alrighty then.
Yeah, I was like, what the I would never spend that in a million years. But then again, it's San Francisco, so I guess they can find ways of getting away with it. But still.
I guess.
Like, it's brutal. Like, I was like, whoa, hell no. And also to respond to you, Kyle, when it comes to your statement about leisure and the effects of adult development, yeah, I was shocked too when I found out about how little isn't understood. I did speak to a professor who researches certain, we'll say, knows a great deal about cognitive function, and there's actually seemingly a lot of interesting like developments under how adults can sometimes shake up the plasticity of the brain by adding extra activities to like their daily routines. And it's interesting to note that like by spending leisure, like by utilizing your time in a more like leisure focused way, you actually find yourself returning to some of the cognitive functions that are reserved for childhood. And so it might be, if you can find a way to get into the frame of reference where you're spending more time spending on leisure, then there's a good chance that you might be able to learn more things more quickly. So,
All right.
something interesting to kind of see. And also, there's also one other thing too that's really helpful that I think, which is awesome about leisure in general, is that if you're able to spend time utilizing leisure at least like roughly like once a week for like an hour, you actually live a little longer.
Oh.
Yeah. There's been an actual positive correlation between leisure and longevity.
Well, I'm glad reading counts for me then.
Exactly, right? Because, oh my gosh, I wish reading counted for me.
Again, it has
be like
become
1,000.
Again, it has become less recreational for you and more business, unfortunately. Sadness.
Someday, I hope to hire somebody who can write like scripts, and then I can just be like, I showed up today.
Ain't that the dream?
It is the dream. I know it's a dream. It's never going to happen. Unless you, the viewers. It's like, I'll put it all on you guys. We don't have to put out anything. We don't. We just exist. It's just a name.
We just relax.
Just show up,
Just, go to something calm, relaxing, away.
I don't know why. I actually really like that polar bear. I'm just like,
polar bear's having a good time.
Yeah, like water looks cold, which is like their happiness.
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to
What's up?
I guess when it comes to certain activities, I think of like not just spa trips, by the way, like in response to like kind of like the question I asked you about like what are some of the ones that you could think of. Like I was thinking of like renting an exotic supercar.
Oh my.
For like a weekend, like to me, like
Lord.
I like to go fast. You know that.
Just zoom.
You've been with me. You know I like to go fast.
Yeah.
First, you're last. Anyways, and like that right there is some money.
That is some money.
Let's put this guys in this perspective here for a second. To rent like a Lamborghini, right? Like or a Ferrari for a day, not the weekend. A day. It's like $1,500.
Well, that already blew into the 1,000 range.
Yeah, so can you imagine? You're like, all right, cool. I'm gonna pick it up on Friday. I'll drop it off on Sunday.
Gosh, you know how many groceries and stuff I can get with that?
Don't think about it like that. You gotta think about the experience, okay? Like we're driving.
I've driven a Tesla before. It's fine.
The Tesla is fast, but like it's not fun fast. It's fast in the way a roller coaster is fast. It's like.
And I barely like those.
Yeah, well, hey, you liked when I was driving fast in the car. You know you liked that. Anyways.
Huh?
Whatever. Don't matter. Anyways, my point is that it is fun to drive fast cars that are intended to drive fast. Unfortunately, I'm a giant, so I can't fit in most supercars. But if I could. What?
Just gotta make a big one.
Make a big one. You're like, you know what? I want the supercar the NBA guys all have. The NBA. Like those guys. That they drive the fancy car. Can you just get one for me that's like in those dimensions? Can you imagine calling up for like one of the Ferrari like sales reps? You're like, yeah, I want one of those, but I want it in these dimensions. That's gonna work real well. And then you'd be like, what? I don't want to buy it. I just want to rent it for a couple days. You just get laughed out the room, like off the phone. Like they'd be like, "What?" Yeah, no, hell no.
What?
Anyways, no.
You talking about the car thing? No.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the car thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It tickles my funny bone. What am I gonna say? You know, Max
Well, better than
Malaya.
hitting your funny bone.
Yeah, just bonk real quick. Oh, my elbow. Why? Boy, there's nothing funny about this. Actually, that's the real secret to why it's called the funny bone is because it makes other people laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll see here. Kyle says, if you mean $500 a year minimum, I think I'm going to the gym can be a good leisure activity. I mean, is the gym a leisure activity?
It depends on like if you're going there and like I guess just listening to your music and kind of losing yourself in the workout.
I think that's called zoning out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a leisure. I mean, Kyle, you gotta sell it to me. You gotta explain. You gotta sell this concept to me because I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And also,
Because
your
it's like, I
gym
know that
membership
some
costs
people
too much.
Huh?
I was also like, your gym membership costs too much.
Yeah, that is an expensive gym.
Yeah, I mean, that's at least what $40 a year at least.
Yeah,
Or for, a month.
least.
Excuse me, a month.
Yeah.
To get to the
$40
$500. Yeah. No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I know some gym memberships are that expensive.
I mean, yeah, you can get them there, but like, I mean, like, what exactly are you doing in the gym to justify that? You know what I mean? Like,
Hopefully a lot.
See, I used to go to Family Fitness.
Okay.
It's this place in Northern California, and the reason why I paid to go there was because they had access to a lap pool, and it was heated.
Oh.
So you could do laps even during the winter.
Nice.
The issue was when you got
so-
out of the water.
You cold as heck.
Yeah, I was freezing. Like I had to gasp to find my testicles. You know what I'm saying? Like it was that kind of cold. Like,
But yeah, I can see that. Yeah, some people actually do like working out, so there's a whole workout culture about it.
oh, for sure. Yeah, no, workout cultures, it makes sense. But I'm not so sure I would call it a leisure-based activity. I mean, it is an experience. It is an activity you're doing. I mean, I guess it kind of fits some of the parameters. I mean, like, I feel I want to be sold on it. I want you to like send me a little paragraph and just sell it to me. Like this is the
gosh,
thing.
a little. You didn't have time for a dissertation.
I'm not asking for a dissertation. I'm asking for a freaking elevator, like pitch. 30-second pitch. Here we go. No, we don't need to do that.
You did it anyway.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah. So, are there better ways of spending leisure time than blowing money on random crap?
I mean, again, I like being on my computer and playing games. Like, I pay once for the actual game copy, and then just have at it.
I mean, like, once again, I feel like this also fits in like. I'll tell you this right now. The professor that taught leisure, I would say talk to us about leisure. Whew, he was a character. I gotta be honest.
He was a character?
He was
What'd he do?
fantastic. A brilliant person to talk to and a great conversationalist. But man, every time someone would say, "Hey, video game, TV show," he'd be like, "Nope, that's not leisure."
I guess, but like, for this particular question, does it have to be a leisure activity?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm gonna hold my ground on this. Yeah, it does.
Okay, all right. It's probably just going to be the thing I mentioned earlier, which is just reading my books, because I'm very good at immersing myself into those things.
Let me paint you a picture, okay, with words. Bright sunny day.
Right.
With light, gentle wind blowing through. A beautiful tree on a very, mild size hill, casting a light shadow.
Okay.
You nestled at the base of the tree reading a book.
Okay.
That is a leisure experience.
I would say I would be cold.
Okay, you have a
mentioned the
scarf.
breeze.
You have a scarf or a sweater or something that makes you not cold. You are perfectly comfortable. You even have
Do
a
I
snack.
have food?
And a yeah, you have food.
Yes. I have.
You have a snack. You got a blanket.
Do I get to bring a blanket? Yes,
Yeah.
blanket.
You are experiencing outside with a book.
Do I have to worry about birds pooping?
No.
Okay.
I will smite them out of the sky for you.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Nice, chill, relaxing. I get to enjoy my book and hopefully not get turned into a popsicle.
Hell,
I'm
you know
just
what?
me. I would just imagine me, like constantly shuffling. It's like, okay, into the sun because I'm cold, back into the shade because I'm hot.
No, this is where you. This is where
Just
you.
sit half and half.
No. You gotta get lazy. You gotta get like to the point where you can toss and turn. You know.
No. You want to know what would be better?
What's better?
If I could get like this little, like, if I could get a really big Roomba and just have it turn in circles. And just like sit a beanbag on it and sit on the beanbag and just have it turn
Oh,
so I'm
damn.
constantly rotating like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh my god, that's great. Oh my god, that's so great. You know what? We're gonna build that. Like, we're gonna build that, and we're gonna take a picture, and we're gonna. This is gonna be great. No, we're gonna do this. All right, Kyle. I see the list of stuff. Let's go ahead and let's take a
Yeah,
look.
of
Let's go.
course.
Let's fire it
Okay.
off. What do you got?
So mountain biking, some really good bikes at $500. Upkeep and
Okay.
gear can make it a yearly expense. Maybe
Yes.
skiing and LARPing.
Yes. You know, honestly, I've been thinking about the whole workout thing as a leisure activity.
Yes.
You know what? My thought is this: it probably is a leisure activity if you are getting meditative results from it.
All right.
As for skiing, it's actually on the list of medium activities. Skiing,
Nice.
snowboarding
It's
weekends.
a, more physical batch.
Yeah, because especially if, like, you rent out like a cabin up, like, say, like somewhere in Tahoe area or like Sugar Bowl or something like that, right? In the Sierra Nevadas, you can get like a cabin for like $100.
Huh?
You know, like for a night.
Sounds like an Airbnb.
Yeah, well, not really an Airbnb, more like
No, just like pricing wise.
oh, pricing wise, yeah, for sure. But like you have to trek out to the cabin.
That's fine.
But it's nice
Need my
because
steps.
it's nature. You know, it's like
I need my steps in anyway.
yeah, they're usually like 2.5 to like 8 kilometers away from where you park. So it's like
Alright.
it could be up to a day hike to get to the destination, but it's totally worth it because the countryside's beautiful.
Jeebus.
Yeah, and then you can like snowboard and ski and all sorts of stuff.
Just wee.
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely a thing. But you combine
Mhm.
gas and equipment, you can usually get to that medium range.
Okay.
LARPing for sure.
Oh,
Lord knows that I have spent a fair penny, a shekel or so.
yeah. On the gear, and then potentially to any good sparring sites.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then if you're like with a group to get
Oh,
like
dear
a
Lord.
recording thing to just record the shenanigans because it's LARPing. Of course, there's going to be shenanigans.
Yeah, it can be pricey. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
all
What's
good
up?
fun stuff. All right,
Mhm.
so I'm looking at the time. I know how many more questions are left. Let's get through the next section. So,
All right.
the
Bom.
next section is called extravagant leisure.
Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum.
Really, it's like $5,000 and up. Like everything that we considered $5,000 and up.
Yeah,
Now-
so if you can make a budget or medium one go that high, dang, you really went for that experience, didn't you?
Now, as previously mentioned, there have been several
Uh-huh.
things that have been discussed as as the team was talking about this particular subject
Yes.
and planning the episode, and a theme kept on appearing in several of the people's team
Yeah.
suggestions, and that was, of course, want to say it with me, bro?
Travel!
Travel.
Traveling to a foreign place outside of your own home.
You mean your everyday? Like every time you leave your house, it's a travel experience. You are a hermit. You are definitely a hermit.
I am a little hermit crab, yes.
But when you do travel, my God, do you go far? It's like you
South
save up
Korea
all
and
your
Taiwan.
movement.
Oh yeah, it's just like, yep, just save, just pass. Does circles around the board once I decide to move.
Yeah,
Can you
so
imagine if that worked on Monopoly? Anyway.
that'd be called cheating, and pretty sure people rig dice like that.
Yep. All right.
But yeah, so like we kind of like were looking at things, and Rose, you suggested what was it? Australia.
Australia, British Virgin Islands, South Korea, Himalayas.
Okay, all right. We'll come back to the Himalaya part. But
Okay.
what is it about those first three places that you kind of were like, these are things that I would like to visit or revisit?
Definitely like, different culture for the most part. I would like to see, the landscapes and whatnot. Definitely the architecture in a lot of, the traditional South Korea places. Very, very pretty, very, very to my style. I wish I could build like that in Minecraft, but whatever. And
You can.
so it's just like I like seeing a different environment than what I'm used to because I'm used to more like suburban areas. And yeah, they do have their own suburban areas, but it's kind of a different feel.
I get that. I mean, I haven't really done any serious traveling, but when I have left the comforts of my own place, it definitely the first sensations that I felt whenever I've left like new places is that wow, this is like really different than where I come from, and like the people here are different, and like the way people interact is different, and like yeah, and there's a getting used to certain things that are different and being okay with it because yeah, cool.
But yeah, most of my, most of my ideas were like about traveling to somewhere I haven't been before. But you had a couple of others on the team had a couple of different ones.
Yeah, one of the things that I suggested was kind of like one of those things that I heard of and thought was a joke at first, and then I found out it was a real thing, and that's the Parisian breakfast.
Oh, the Parisian. Oh, okay. Is that the one where you just straight up go to Paris?
And have breakfast and then fly back? Yeah, that's the thing.
God almighty.
People do that. I don't know who the hell has like 17 grand to go, I'm just going to fly to Paris, I'm going to eat some food, and then I'm going to fly back. Like, who the fuck does that?
That's called flexing.
That's not flexing. That is just like... You know what? If it's flexing, it's suplexing everyone. it's like above and beyond. It's like I don't.
It's John Cena-ing this thing.
For real. It is nuts. I couldn't believe it.
If I just want a Parisian, like it's like I will live vicariously through people who do that. I will not do that myself. No thanks.
I'll observe your Instagram and I'll think about how it tastes.
It's like I'll think about it. I'll think about it, but no.
Another one that like kind of blew me away, and this is kind of linked to the same way, but like because I kind of like found it in similar methods, was people who travel using private jets. That shit is expensive.
Private jet?
Yeah, just to put this into perspective, right?
Okay.
Some planes have a limit of somewhere between 14 and one person, right? I genuinely do not understand how someone could drop 50 grand on a plane ticket. Like, not even kidding, like 50 grand plane ticket. Like,
I hear that number and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, you could just down payment on a house to fly.
Just straight up buy like a new car.
Buy many new cars.
Yeah.
Or buy dozens of really shitty cars.
That you fix up.
Yeah, I know, right?
You could invest in like so many things.
There's lots of ways of spending $50,000, but air travel, because you don't want to share space with other people. Not one of them.
It's like the experience better be worth it, in my opinion. But like that's my opinion.
I mean, there are lots of things that should happen on that flight, several of which I am not going to share on YouTube. But I think you guys could all kind of catch my drift. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain service perhaps that'll be provided.
I think that's illegal in some places.
I mean, perhaps, but all I'm going to say is that like you spending 50 grand. You better be getting something for it.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying. You gotta be getting something. It's fucking bullshit. So like, yeah, no, like, so there's that. I mean, there's the other thing too, which is like, traveling on like a fancy yacht.
Uh-huh.
Man, that gets
Yeah.
expensive too. I mean, like that
Oh,
is
yeah.
to own one of those is like what? Like, there's like a video we have.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah,
We do. Want me to show it?
yeah, go for it. We're gonna test some equipment, so if you guys are sticking around, this is a test for future stuff, just to see if we can do
Yeah,
this.
it's the
Yeah,
bunk.
just go ahead and play it for a second.
Just like, dang.
Look at the type of people who are on this fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, look at these guys. They're like, I'm waiting for my rich guy. Where's my rich guy? Yeah,
Look at that.
$527 million mega yacht. It's like, come on now, man. That's some
Ooh,
bullshit.
boy. I not gonna lie, I do like that reflective surface though. That is pretty.
I mean, it may be pretty, but still, like, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't do it, but like,
Okay, I just want you to think about this for a second. $527 million. One trip.
nope.
$527 million.
You know how many other trips I could pay for with that?
I understand this, but I'm just saying, like, $527 million. You know,
Yeah.
when you say it like that, it's just like, what the fuck? You know, like,
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's too much. It's too much.
Too much. Too much.
Way too much. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
We can move it off that. Yeah, so when it comes to various places and stuff, right? Like, there are obviously some things that are worthwhile, and there's certain experiences that are had. But I have, I guess, my final question of the night, and this is for our viewers. It's for you, Rose.
Okay.
If you have a question for me afterwards, go for it. But
Hmm.
here's my final question: can you go too far when enjoying leisure? And after watching that little clip we shared, I feel like the answer is yes. It must be yes. But the question is, at what point does yes begin? At least for me. That's what I think. But what do you
Okay.
think?
For me, it begins when your attempt at trying to enjoy your leisure time or even getting to that leisure time is becoming a detriment to your health, such as, um, this one popular phrase, no lifing it. So let's say you just want to get done with whatever the heck you're trying to do, whether
Uh-huh.
that be education or whatever, because you want to get to the afterward, which
Uh-huh.
should be the reward and whatnot. But you just kind of like go through the education. You like only go through education. You maybe only do work so you can pay for that education, and you like ignore everything else. It's like you're getting burnt out. Your health is probably on a downturn because if you're no lifing it, that means like you're severely lacking in potentially like socializing with people.
Shocking. It's starting to feel a little too close to home. I feel
Yeah.
I'm being attacked right now.
Oopsies. But it's just like when it becomes a detriment to your health, or
Stop laughing.
that's like personal. If your leisure time comes at the expense of somebody else's health as well.
Sure, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Like for me, it's more about like health wise. It's like, can you actually afford to do this and still be okay?
Yeah.
It's like, are you alright? Are you okay? You're not dying, right?
No. No, apparently not. No. All right. Well, we'll give it a second for it to see if there's any anybody have any final thoughts on that. And while we're waiting on that, I want to let you guys know that hey, we're doing Patreon. There's going to be a special recording on Patreon where there's going to be a familiar subject getting discussed again, and with some interesting ideas and concepts. So hopefully
Yeah,
you
some
guys
new
join
stuff.
join Patreon and you can hear some fun, cool stuff. And then there's a future episode that I've been kicking around. I want to know if you guys want to see it or not. Feel free to throw it in the comment section or give us a thumbs up if you want to see the thing in which we're talking about. But the actual subject matter is returning back to UFOs. There's a whole bunch of interesting things that have recently happened that I think it's worth discussing. And there's also kind of something I saw relatively recently that got me thinking about the subject again. It got me really thinking about things, and I was like, I'm not sure. Maybe I want to talk about it again because there are some things that I think would be fun. So, yeah. And with that being said,
Ooh, I like that.
Kyle has a message.
Yeah, Kyle saying that leisure is taken too far when it becomes an addiction or a necessity.
Interesting. I would say I agree with you about it because when if it becomes an addiction, yes. Necessity. I think leisure is a necessity. I think it's something that we utilize to kind of balance out our lives. And
I wonder if they're talking like an extreme necessity.
oh yeah, so it becomes like almost like it's like a hyper addiction.
I guess. Like, you legit cannot live without that one leisure activity type of thing, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that could perhaps be one of the things. Certainly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right. Well, I like the thought. If there's anyone else has any more thoughts, I want you guys to feel free to write in the comment section below. It's been fun. I'm glad we had this little leisurely discussion on leisure. It's been absolutely lovely. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your evening and a fantastic Sunday. And look forward to hearing from us next Saturday with something more, something new, something fresh. We'll see you all in the next one, everybody. Good night.